All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're looking at Energy Statistics India 2024. It's packed with insights, so let's break it down.
Yeah, it really captures like a snapshot of India's energy landscape, where they are now, where they're headed.
Absolutely. And right off the bat, those coal reserves, wow, third largest globally?
Oh, yeah, huge. 361.41 billion tons as of April 2022.
That's just
Yeah.
massive. 2.64% increase from the year before, too.
It's really striking how central coal has been and still is to India's development.
It makes you think about the sheer scale of the operations needed to extract that much.
And of course, all the environmental and social impacts that come with it, especially now with climate change being such a big concern.
Right. And the report points out most of these reserves are concentrated in a few states: Odisha, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh.
Knowing where the resources are is key, right? It affects infrastructure, potential jobs, everything.
Okay, so moving on to natural gas, another major player in the mix. India's got a substantial amount of that too, almost 1,150 billion cubic meters as of April 2022.
And a big chunk of that, like 29.3%, is found in the Western offshore region. So location really impacts how they access and use it.
So it's not just about having resources, it's about where they are too.
Absolutely. Adds a whole other layer to their energy strategy.
Now for the real game changer, renewables. India has a huge potential there, over 21 million megawatts estimated.
It's enough to power the whole country multiple times over. And the breakdown's fascinating. Wind, 55.2%, solar, 35.5%. That's the future right there.
On Rajasthan, they're a major player in this. Over 20% of the nation's total renewable potential is right there.
Makes sense. All that sun, wide open space is perfect for solar farms. Plus, it's windy. Good for wind power, too. Geography really shapes things.
And the data shows they're going for it. Installed capacity of renewables, not counting hydropower, grew by 12.2% in 2022-23, compared to just 0.49% for thermal sources.
Wow, that's a stark difference. Shows their commitment to moving away from fossil fuels. It's more than just potential now. They're making it happen.
Yeah, solar's leading the way. Over 53% of total installed renewable capacity in 2023. And the growth rate, almost 24% year on year.
That's amazing. Supportive policies, solar tech getting cheaper, and more awareness of climate change, it all adds up.
But even with all this renewable progress, the report says coal consumption actually went up by 8.63% in 2022-23.
It's tough. Energy transitions take time. India's economy's booming, demand is high, renewables are growing fast, but coal's still a big part of the picture, especially for electricity. Over 70% of coal use is for that.
So it's like this balancing act, meeting current needs while shifting to a cleaner future.
Exactly, and you see that in the overall consumption numbers. Total energy consumption went up by 6.48% from 2021-22 to 2022-23. That's a big jump.
It really shows the challenge they face trying to grow without relying so much on traditional sources. So how are they planning to manage this transition?
Well, the report highlights some key strategies. One is diversifying their energy sources beyond just coal. We've already talked about the push for renewables, but there's also a focus on increasing domestic production of natural gas.
Right, makes sense. Tapping into more of their own resources would help reduce that dependence on imports. Speaking of which, the report did show a pretty substantial increase in energy imports, especially for coal and crude oil.
Yeah, it's a vulnerability they know about. Relying so much on imports, you're exposed to global price swings, potential supply disruptions. It's risky.
It's a tough spot, needing energy now, but also wanting to make sure it's secure in the long term.
Exactly, and that's why the report really emphasizes energy efficiency. They've actually made some good progress there.
Yeah. I was looking at the data on energy intensity. It decreased, went from 174.27 to 172.12 megajoules per 1,000 rupees of GDP between 2021-22 and 2022-23.
Might not seem like much, but it's significant. Means they're using energy more efficiently for their economic growth. That's key for sustainability.
So it's not just about switching sources, it's also about making the most of what they're already using.
Exactly, and it goes beyond industry, too. The report talks about initiatives to promote energy conservation in homes as well.
Like using more efficient appliances, little habits to reduce waste. It all adds up.
Absolutely, and you've got those individual actions being supported by bigger technological advancements.
Yeah. The report mentions some cool innovations in solar panel tech, battery storage, smart grids. Sounds like tech's a big part of this transition.
For sure. More efficient solar panels make solar even more competitive. Better batteries help with the problem of solar and wind being intermittent, and smart grids optimize energy distribution, cut down on losses.
So it's a multi-pronged approach, tackling the problem from all angles.
Yeah. That's what it takes. There's no magic bullet for this. It's policy, technology, behavior change, all working together.
The report also mentioned the growth of off-grid and decentralized renewable systems. Things like solar-powered water pumps in rural areas, that's amazing.
Really important trend. Bringing renewable energy to those communities, it improves access to electricity, empowers them, contributes to development. It's a win-win.
This deep dive has been really eye-opening. It's not just numbers on a page. It's about balancing growth, the environment, the needs of a huge population.
Yeah, it's a complex story, and it's still being written. India's energy journey is full of potential.
What stands out to you as the most important takeaway from this report?
I think it's the recognition that India's energy choices have global implications. As one of the world's fastest-growing economies and a major energy consumer, the path India takes will have ripple effects on global energy markets, climate change efforts, and even geopolitical dynamics.
It's a big responsibility, but also kind of empowering, right?
Yeah.
It shows how important informed decisions are, how much collaboration matters.
Absolutely, and that's where these deep dives are so valuable. Understanding the data, the trends, the complexities, that's the first step to finding solutions and shaping a sustainable future.
This report has definitely given us a lot to think about, and it's sparked a lot of questions, too. What are your thoughts on the future of nuclear energy in India?
That's a great question. Nuclear is definitely interesting. The report doesn't go super deep on it, but it does say nuclear power was about 3% of India's total electricity generation in 2022-23.
Yeah, it's kind of its own thing, right? Low carbon, which is good, but there are those challenges, waste disposal, safety concerns, that kind of thing.
It seems like they're exploring it, but not on the same level as solar or wind. Those are really taking off.
Right, nuclear growth in India has been pretty slow compared to some other places. Public perception plays a role, regulations, and nuclear plants are expensive to build up front.
So it's a multifaceted approach for sure, weighing the pros and cons of each energy source.
Definitely the smart way to do it. No easy answers here. What works in one place might not somewhere else. It's about finding the right mix. This whole deep dive has really shown how important data is, for understanding complex stuff like energy. It's easy to get lost in the headlines, but having the facts helps us make better decisions.
Absolutely. And it's not just for governments. Businesses need this info, investors, even individuals. We can all make better choices about energy use, investments, how we live.
So big picture, what's the one thing you hope our listener takes away from all this?
I think it's that India's energy choices matter globally. They're a major player, growing fast, so their decisions have ripple effects. Energy markets, climate change, even geopolitics, it all connects.
It's a reminder that we're all in this together, right? Our choices have an impact, even the small ones.
Yeah, and it's a call to action. We can all push for positive change, whether it's policies, supporting clean tech, or just making conscious decisions in our own lives.
Well said. This has been incredibly insightful. I hope everyone listening feels inspired to learn more and join the conversation about India's energy future.
It's been great discussing this with you.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Energy Statistics India 2024. Until next time, keep exploring and keep learning.